Hi, so today's question is, do I keep a stash of yarn? So the short answer is no. Okay, so I do have quite a bit of some yarn, as you can see behind me over there. So I generally do not keep a stash of yarn. The reason why you're seeing all that yarn is because I've sourced the yarn for this year's fall and winter collection. So that's all the yarn that I've got behind me, and some leftovers from other projects. So a few months ago, I sold most of the yarns that I had because, well, there was so much going on there with the yarn that I had collected over the years. But the main reasons why I do not have a big stash of yarn is because I find it very overwhelming. So whenever I look at my yarn, I need to have a project assigned to it for the future, or something that I'm planning to work on immediately or even later on, but there's got to be a project linked to the yarn. So if there's no project associated with that particular yarn, I find it very overwhelming, and I feel like I need to get some project to do with that yarn. And then the other reason why I do not keep a lot of yarn is that trends change in terms of what I want to design and what I want to knit. So I don't want to be stuck with yarn that I'm not going to be using because a lot has changed, and that doesn't work anymore. So that's why I try to make sure that I've got the yarns that I actually am going to use and that I need for the designs that I have in mind. So on the rare occasion that I would have some yarn just there for no particular project, it's usually a very neutral yarn that can easily be used on different projects. For instance, in off-white color like what I'm wearing right now, I'll have a bit of that just so that if I need to use it on something, or if I need to add it to another project, or if I need to add it to some socks, for example, I don't have to think of buying yarn. But mostly I only buy yarn for specific projects. And the other reason why I do not have a stash and I don't just buy for building my stashes, because I find that I'm very particular with matching the design idea with the yarn, to an extent that I can have a whole batch of yarn and still need to buy something because the idea that I have specifically requires a certain yarn color or a certain fiber. So for the most part, I've realized that it's pointless to own a stash. So I've got very limited quantities of yarn. I've got a number of sweaters and a coat that I'll be working on now. So that's why there's a little bit of yarn right there. But I think by the end of the season, my yarn will have really gone down, and I'll have to buy for my spring and my summer collection. But the short answer is I don't keep a stash of yarn, and the yarns that I have are always project specific. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video.